This is Clarence Moy with Awards Daily. How are you guys?
Pretty good. You guys giving out awards daily?
Do we get an
award? We watch awards daily. How about that? We take a look at everything that's in contention and try to figure out what's gonna be big. That's what we do. So congratulations. What's that?
So how you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Good, man.
I'm feeling good. How are you guys after doing all of these press junkets?
A little loopy, a little punchy. But I feel great.
I expected you both to be cooking some spaghetti, making up some nice pasta.
I am.
You should have been doing that for every interview. Just
yes, you should have.
Yep, I got a stove over here, and I'm making a whole thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Gotta keep stirring.
Yeah. So Patrick, I want to start with you. So, what has been your connection or your personal relationship to The Godfather, since obviously the offer tells the story about the making of The Godfather? When did you first see it? What was your first reaction to it?
I first saw it, I think I was about 12 or 13. And I think my connection to The Godfather, coming from an Italian-American family, it's kind of a rite of passage that you see the film and that you love the film, but I grew up in a family where there was my father knew a lot of people that were involved in similar businesses as characters in The Godfather. And as I've said, I spent a lot of time sitting at a huge, enormous dinner table with both detectives and gangsters, sharing the same, bowls of pasta and, bowls of sausage and, cream puffs and lasagna and what have you. So, when I saw The Godfather, it was like watching a whole movie. Like I kind of felt like I knew the feel of every room that a scene would be shot in The Godfather. Like I felt like I knew the furniture, I knew the voices, I knew the tone. So when I saw it, it was like watching a whole movie. It was like, I was looking around my own house in a lot of ways, and that affected me in a pretty deep way, because then I was also seeing it for its cinematic value, and a lot of the things in that film affected me in a way that was oddly familiar, and I mean good things and dark things. Like there were dark things in that film that happened that I did see in my life, and that shook me up in a I guess a beautiful way, right? I mean, it connected me to it unexpectedly in a very organic way. So it had a pretty enormous effect on me when I first saw it.
Dan, same question for you.
When I first saw it, I grew up in Brooklyn, and there was some mob activity in my neighborhood, that's for sure. And I remember hearing that song at an early age and wondering what that was always playing everywhere. And then I finally was a young actor, 15, something the same age as Patrick, and picked up The Godfather. And between The Godfather and Godfather Part 2, you're covering, the ensemble covers all the greatest actors of our time. And so it was just a big masterclass for me, just loving it, just finding Brando that way, and then reverse engineering and watching everything he did, everything Pacino did, Diane Keaton, like it's like everybody is amazing in it. And so that was like a real fertile ground for an actor to start finding all of these amazing performances, and then just starting to watch everything that Coppola directed. That was the starting point. That was the catalyst.
Mm-hmm. Patrick, you mentioned watching this film and coming from an Italian-American family, and you play Mario Puzo in the offer. How did you approach the character without making him an Italian stereotype? Like, what did you infer into the character to make him sort of, fully dimensional, real Italian person that you could have known?
I think it was a matter of just kind of being my own sort of organic self, like where I came from and how I kind of existed to an extent in my life, not typically Italian American, because I was always kind of a little bit different than a lot of the people around me. You know what I mean? A little, you know, I just didn't exist in the exact same space, but I existed a little more in the one that Puzo was in, which was, I think, seeing the world in a different way, you know, that art was important and seeing the world through a poetic lens.
Sure.
And those were the similarities and the parallels that I found with Puzo and myself. And so I just, you know, to keep him organic and real was to make sure those things were intact, and that no matter what I was doing, whether it was something humorous and whatever the dynamic of the scene was, that those truths were there. The poetry, the love of art, the passion, the love of family, the love of friends, and what those things meant. As long as those things were intact for me, whatever I did physically, it really didn't matter to me, because I knew that was what needed to come across. And I really hope that it did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dan, you're Francis Ford Coppola. Loved your interpretation of Coppola. Loved the sort of this wonder and glow about him, that sort of man-child nature behind him, this fascination with everything, that, you know, just you know, throwing fits and tantrums, but then loving a scene so much. And, you know, your eyes, you know, especially with the rehearsal scene, the dinner sequence where all the cast members get together, your eyes are just loving every moment of it. What drove your interpretation of Francis Ford Coppola? Had you ever met him?
I honed in on, I mean, I watched Hearts of Darkness like very soon after I saw The Godfather, and that's about the making of Apocalypse Now. And there's a scene in there where whenever he talks to the actors, and specifically when he's talking to Hopper, you see this little smile on his face of like, this is why Francis does it. For him, he's still on stage, you know, in a theatrical production, and it's these little beautiful little nuanced moments with the actors that he loves so much, and that's what I'm stealing from him there. And yeah, I mean, we were recreating this iconic moment where Coppola talks about these, you know, sharing the sensual moments with the actors, making sure all the actors party together and drink and eat and be merry together. And so we recreated this iconic scene. So, you know, if there was a glisten, you know, a glint in my eye, that was Dan shining through, like, oh my God, look what we're getting to do here. And that was so many times on set. We got to be in the Don's office. We got to recreate Sonny, you know, beating up Carlo, and like all of these iconic scenes. Michael in the restaurant, you know, where he has to step up, and my God, like anytime we did, right, Pat? Like anytime we were near any of those moments,
yeah,
it was just a glorious day on set.
Yeah, and I think, and just to speak on that, Danny, and I love that you said that, that's Danny coming through. You know, there were so many moments where we were doing scenes where, you know, we were both engaged in something, and there was an excitement and a discovery that Puzo and Coppola, we had, but that was, correct me if I'm wrong, that was Danny and Patrick going like, you believe what we're doing right now? Right. Can you believe where we are, what we're talking about, what we're able to do? Like the genuine excitement of just the two humans, not the actors. It was Dan and Patrick just going like, this is crazy and amazing. Yeah. And that was all the time. We didn't have to fight to make that happen. Like that came through our eyes because it was really there.
Right. So I talked about, you guys should have, you know, been cooking during this interview. But that, you know, those scenes where you're writing the script and you're cooking and drinking and all of that's what drove that magnetic chemistry that happens between the two of you, is you are just loving the fact that you get to play in this film.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm
so glad it's coming through.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
That's awesome.
You could watch an entire show just about the friendship and the bond between Coppola and Puzo. I mean, based on those sequences, I would love that.
Yeah, me too. Paramount Plus, Puzo and Coppola.
There you go. Yeah, well, I mean, there's a whole kind of spin-offs I would love to see. I'd love to see Mario Puzo writing Superman. All of that. And I mean, come on, Heart of Darkness. I mean, Apocalypse Now.
Oh,
Wouldn't you love to play Coppola making that and going through all of that?
Oh, that would be incredible.
Odyssey. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it would be even. Yeah, it would be a great way to top this if we could. You know, this journey making The Godfather is so epic. Like that, you'd have to go to the next level like that.
Yeah.
As addictive and as fun as The Offer can be, and it's sort of retelling this key point in cinematic history, there is a bit of a melancholy to it when you get to the end, because there is a sense that this kind of thing will never happen again. Like this magic may never happen again, or this scenario, all of the pieces that come together in both of your working careers. I mean, Patrick, you've worked with Scorsese and The Irishman. I mean, do you run into things like that? Do you have that same sense that, you know, The Godfather something like that may never happen again, that you've missed that sort of lightning in a bottle?
Oof.
Based on the original Godfather, or based on our experience on the show?
Based on, you know, with your working career today, you know, and what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Do you think that, you know, something like The Godfather could ever happen again in what you're familiar with Hollywood and all of that?
I mean, I certainly think there's a possibility of an experience that is, you know, maybe not the same, but still magical. Like, I mean, this experience on The Offer, you know, like, it was unbelievable. It was so rare. Like, I knew every single day that this is not how it all is. And you guys are in a position where you get to experience something incredibly, incredibly rare and beautiful. Now, so I would have to say that because of my experience on The Offer, I am very optimistic that something else is out there that will be magical too. This has definitely proved to me that, like, there is magic out there through the lens of being an actor and being able to work with other amazing, beautiful people and work on another project. Like, yes, or I would just quit.
Right. Of course.
You know, I would just stop doing it. But I'm not, because I know that it's all like there's magic out there, and it's you know, and I think that you know, I guess I think I have a good chance at being a part of another magical journey. This one is certainly, you know, one that I hold so dearly in my heart, and I'm about to start crying. So thank you for making me cry.
Awesome. Dan, last question for you. What were some of your favorite sequences to film as Francis?
Right. I guess, you know, spoilers. I loved anytime we referenced, you know, some iconic moment. I love that scene with me and Puzo, and I think that's what it really is for the core of our relationship. That scene really sums it up, with the banana and figuring out, hold on, no, we create the tension by making Michael hold on to the gun too long. The two of them finding that moment together, that's it. That's the core of the whole thing is in that scene where they find his beautiful words coming to life off of the page before their very eyes, the two of them appreciating both of their genius, and the audience gets a taste of what it's like to be in the presence of people who can brainstorm like that. And that's a very special scene. I love that scene. Loved anytime we had to, you know, got to recreate like the Don's office, anything with Sonny, you know, like Sonny's my favorite character. Loved the scene in the restaurant. Anthony Ippolito does a fantastic job as Pacino. Love that whole sequence where he has to step up, and there's so many great moments, man.
Yeah,
people are gonna love it.
Well, your love is coming through for the show, and of course, it is a fantastic series, and you're both wonderful in it. So, thank you for the time today.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.